So when we say that the when Pakistan is a party to the international human rights system or international law, we need to understand that international law basically deals between the states or the subjects of international law. So we can divide the international law into two divisions, like one is the public international law and second is the private international law. And when we talk about the public international law, we then come to the international human rights law and international humanitarian law. And we had talked in detail and in length about the international human rights law, which originated from the UN Charter and Universal Declaration of Human Rights and the treaties which the state parties Pakistan has ratified or acceded. Ratified or acceded means we had made ourselves bound by the provisions of treaty. That means legally we are bound to comply or submit progress on the implementation of those provisions. So in public international law, the branch which is called international human rights law, it deals with the basically rights and obligations of individuals bestowed by the international law, and these rights and obligations bestowed by international law has to be incorporated by domestic legal mechanisms once we are a state party to that thing. And other one is the and this can be applied in both wartime, during war, and peace times. So when we say international human rights law, it can apply in all situations, whether the country is in armed conflict within the country, within the armed groups or insurgents or a civil emergency, whatever you term it, or it is the international conflict which has, when the war has been declared between two countries. So international human rights law applies in both situations. Armed conflict with the other states, or insurgencies or disturbances or emergencies within the country. And international human rights law bounds the countries that you cannot derogate from certain obligations, even we are in a state of emergency or we are in a state of a war. Like, we cannot deprive someone from right to life, we cannot torture some person, we cannot degrade, we cannot do a slavery, we cannot have the apartheid. So these are the international norms called the preemptory norms or the jus cogens, which every state has to follow even when they are in a state of war. So the international human rights law safeguards those principles of law. And other branch is called the international humanitarian law, and international humanitarian law is only applicable when there is a conflict, or it is called the conflict between two nations. So we divide international human rights law, which applies both peacetime and wartime, and international humanitarian law only applies during the wartime.